What's up, Taiwan? I'm Louise with news from here in Taiwan and around the world. Taiwan's top government watchdog has censured a university in Tainan where an associate professor sexually harassed students for more than a decade. At this university in southern Taiwan, 5 students had accused an associate professor of sexual harassment, starting in 2007. But the teachers, they told, failed to report or investigate the case. And now, years later, the government's supervisory branch, the Control Yuan, has censured National Zhonggong University for their slow response.
学校没有及时阻断，然后让这个教师这几年陆续伤害了不少学生。只是了解，但了解就没有真正的做成调查小组，也没有对这个老师做校园性平法等等的一个程序处理。
The university says its security department only received reports of sexual harassment in 2023 and then found the allegations to be true. It suspended the associate professor, whose surname is Jian, for 3 years.
可能有一些老师其实不太了解法规的规定。其实这几年来，我们在新的主管上面的时候，我们都有进行这个性别平等这样子的一个宣导。
The Control Yuan has urged Taiwan's Education Ministry to oversee the university's handling of gender equality issues to make sure students are protected. The ministry has now told National Zhonggong University to consider dismissing the man in question, rather than the current 3-year suspension. Eason Chen and Louise for TaiwanPlus. Southern Taiwan continues to shake. Aftershocks from last week's magnitude 6.4 earthquake are damaging more buildings in the region.
是刚刚那个地震5.7那个，我刚好从里面要吃药，然后走出来，刚开门而已哦，就开始听到啪啪啪啪啪啪啪啪，然后对，我就先跑来马路，然后转头看，啪就倒了。
No casualties have been reported. Several buildings have collapsed, power lines are down, and public transport delays are affecting the region. In Hsieh, at least one person is trapped under fallen masonry. Local authorities have issued warnings for damaged buildings based on severity: yellow for moderate, red for severe.
目前房屋受损通报大约在1600件左右，那已经在昨天完成全部的勘验。那总计红单跟黄单大约在600多件。
Taiwan's Central Weather Administration has warned residents to expect more aftershocks as the tectonic plates settle. The status of Chinese citizens naturalized in Taiwan has long been a controversial subject. Touching on national security and immigration, the issue has spurred many debates. Chris Gorin reports.
The complex issue of naturalizing Chinese citizens in Taiwan has become a matter of hot debate here. Perhaps the most controversial aspect regards when Chinese citizens need to renounce their original nationality. Unlike people of all other nationalities, a special law known as the Cross-Strait Act allows Chinese nationals to become naturalized in Taiwan without giving up their Chinese status. It also opens the door for their participation in politics, such as through voting. However, another law, the Nationality Act, stipulates that anyone who wants to serve in Taiwan's government must renounce all other nationalities.
我们的两岸条例是说，你入籍中华民国的身份证之后，
特定的年限
10年，你可以有参政权。
对，
但是我们的国籍法是规定，你要担任公职，
对，
你不能有双重国籍。那所以这两套法律，它在解释上面会产生一个冲突。我们从去年到现在，我们对这个问题的看法是一贯的，是一贯的。也就是说，两岸人民关系条例只保障你的参政权，但是你真的要任公职的时候，你要根据国际法。
就回到国际法。
That interpretation has applied to recent cases of Chinese-born politicians who have had their eligibility questioned or revoked. And the Mainland Affairs Council, or MAC, which handles cross-strait policies, may have the public on their side in this case. A recent poll by the MAC showed that 74% of respondents agreed that Chinese citizens should be required to renounce their citizenship in order to hold public office. Only 17% disagreed. Some of this support may be because of concerns about Chinese espionage, as numerous new cases involving people spying for Beijing have come to light recently. Some legislators have introduced an amendment that would make the requirement for renouncing other nationalities even clearer. In the past, there have been proposals to require naturalized Chinese citizens in Taiwan to undergo the same exams and requirements as other nationalized foreigners, along with taking a special oath.
在宣誓里面提到说我放弃中国籍，并且效忠台湾。那这个宣誓的条例其实是具有法律的效益的。如果你违反里面相关的规定，你必须被注销户籍。
Another controversy is that Chinese nationals must live in Taiwan for 6 years to qualify for naturalization, while people of other nationalities need only 4. Some opposition lawmakers are pushing to equalize the timeline, citing that Chinese nationals make up the largest group of foreign spouses in Taiwan.
户籍的配偶，他们也一直不断的都在争取。那其实没有成为中华民国的国民哦，对他们不管在就医或者是平常日常生活当中，都有一些困难。
But the MAC says the timeline is a trade-off.
如果你真的要做到完全公平的话，那陆配很多的特殊，我们给他的特殊优惠政策，可能都要随之取消。这样对陆配来说，并不是一个好事。
The debate over naturalization laws for Chinese citizens in Taiwan highlights deeper questions about national security and Taiwan's evolving identity, and whether all citizens are equal before the law. Chris Ma and Chris Gorin for TaiwanPlus.
One person has died despite a Coast Guard rescue attempt near Taiwan's outlying Matsu Islands. Taiwan's Coast Guard responded to a Belize-registered oil tanker that had run aground and was taking on water. While working to rescue the 8 Indonesian crew members, one fell into the sea and was later pronounced dead in hospital. Authorities are investigating the cause of the incident and working to contain any oil spill from the ship. Hamas and Israel have released a second batch of hostages and prisoners as part of a ceasefire deal. Hsieh reports.
Heartfelt reunions across Israel and the Palestinian territories as hundreds of prisoners are released, part of the ceasefire deal between Israel and Hamas. In Gaza, Hamas militants released 4 female Israeli soldiers to the International Committee of the Red Cross, returning to Israel and reuniting with their families after 477 days in captivity.
אני אוהבת אתכם, כל אזרחי מדינת ישראל שתמכו במשפחות שלנו ועטפו אותם, ולכל חיילי צה"ל שעשו הכל בשבילנו. שיהיה לכם תודה רבה, אני אוהבת אתכם.
In return, Israel released 200 Palestinian prisoners to cheering crowds across the West Bank and Gaza.
وللأمانة الفرحة كبيرة وعارمة، بس ولكن يعني الفرحة منقوصة لأنه لسه في إخوان ورانا كثير في الأسر، والله يرحم الشهداء في غزة ويشفي جرحى في قيد الأسرى كلهم يا رب وقد أحسن.
But shortly after the exchange, Israel accused Hamas of reneging on a part of the deal, and in retaliation, refused to let Palestinians cross the border into northern Gaza, where hundreds are gathered, waiting to return home.
Hamas failed to meet its obligations to first release Israeli female civilian hostages as part of the agreement.
The planned exchange was the second since a ceasefire began on January 19th, part of a precarious and temporary deal after 15 months of negotiations. The next prisoner swap will take place in another long and tense 7 days, as families across borders wait for those held to come home. Chris Ma and Hsieh for TaiwanPlus.
While the rest of the world prepares for romance on Valentine's Day, flower farms in Ecuador are gearing up for bloom season. Demand for the country's famous roses is growing in Europe and the United States. Bryn Thomas reports.
In the run-up to Valentine's Day, between January 18th and February 8th, things become twice as busy at Ecuador's Quito airport, as it struggles to meet international demand for their country's famous flowers.
De movimiento de carga debido a la fiesta de San Valentín Nuestros principales socios comerciales de Estados Unidos y Europa tienen la buena costumbre de recibir mucha flor en estos días, así que se duplica la capacidad, se duplican las operaciones de aerolínea y también la producción de las fincas.
In 2024, Ecuador exported 26,000 metric tons of flowers, mostly to the US and Europe, setting records at Quito Airport. Ecuador's government says flowers and famously roses are among its main exports.
Las rosas ecuatorianas son exportadas a todos los continentes, a sitios realmente lejanos como es la Siberia rusa, como es Australia.
Workers at a Quito-based floriculture company select the tallest, prettiest roses for export. They say their size makes them the best.
De la cabeza que tiene es la más grande del mundo y eso se da porque se cultiva a varios metros sobre el nivel del mar. Esta finca, por ejemplo, está ubicada a 3,200 metros sobre el nivel del mar.
Demand for these roses continues to grow, just like the flowers themselves. Airport forecasts predict 3 to 5% growth in demand in 2025 alone. So, as the rest of the world gets ready for love, those in Ecuador's flower market get ready for boom season. Joseph Wu and Bryn Thomas for TaiwanPlus.
A group of hunters has stepped up to the challenge of containing wild boar that are wreaking havoc on crops in mountains in China. Rosie Greninger has this report.
As night falls in China's Qinlin Mountains, these hunters emerge, scouring the landscape for boars equipped with knives, tracking technology and dogs. Dubbed city hunters, these men have taken on the task of culling the wild tusked pigs, which have run rampant in the region and gained a reputation for devastating local crops.
这是一个公益性的护农，因为我们村呢也就在山区旁边，我们村的庄稼也有，就是每年有受害，所以说我们就是当时我们就是因为好玩吧，跟着一位老大哥带着我们一起去。 打野猪，打了一次我们就感觉挺好的。
The boars were a protected species for over 2 decades, but they were removed from the list in 2023, their population soaring to 2 million. That's when locals realised the boars were a problem, costing them thousands of dollars in crop losses.
一晚上都是拿着棍，拿着叉，从这气的湖炸湖跑去，一晚不睡觉嘛。
For their service, the hunters received bounties of up to $410 from local governments. They've also gone viral on social media, gathering almost 350,000 followers on China's version of TikTok. These men hope to use social media to earn enough money to cover their expenses through advertising and selling hunting products.
前前后后花了大概有100多万，100多万就是不到2年时间，从我们开始玩到现在。 收益的话，现在拍抖音还能补贴一点，就是大概抖音能挣个30多万吧。
But there are those who disagree with their practices. Some followers say the use of hunting dogs is inhumane, while animal rights groups claim the boars are important in providing a food source for other endangered species. But with no government push to implement better crop protection or provide compensation for losses, these hunters are the farmers' last resort for helping them safeguard their livelihoods. James Lin and Rosie Greninger for TaiwanPlus.
In sports news, Taiwanese tennis star Hsieh and her Latvian partner Jelena Ostapenko failed to win the Australian Open Women's Doubles Championship title. The pair lost to Taylor Townsend and Katerina Siniakova 6-2, 6-7, 6-3. Hsieh is a former world #1 and claimed the mixed doubles title at the same tournament last year with then partner Jan Zielinski from Poland. Thank you for watching What's Up Taiwan. You can visit the TaiwanPlus website or do follow our social media for more stories from Taiwan and around the world. Finally, we take you to Singapore for some Lunar New Year themed events. I'm Louise Watt. Take care. We'll see you next time.